The range of best Sony cameras just keeps getting bigger and better as Sony expands its camera offerings to more types of shooters. In areas like sports, wildlife, travel, and fashion to video production, content creation, and vlogging. Whether you are a professional, enthusiast, or just a beginner, there is a Sony camera for everyone. Right at the top end, you've got the mighty but pricey sports-orientated Sony A9 Mark III with its mind-blowing global shutter, or the high-res megapixel monster in the Sony A7R V. In the middle, Sony's APS-C mirrorless cameras are a favorite of mine for travel, video, and content creation. And my current highlight is Sony's compact but powerful Sony A6700. Also, Sony's latest ZV roster of cameras is aimed at vloggers and social media creators. I love these cameras' super compact and simplified designs, meant to go anywhere and shoot great instantly usable footage with minimal effort. To help you find the right model, we've listed the top 5 best Sony cameras and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you, and as always, you can check pricing for any of these products in the description below. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's get started. Number 5. Sony A7 III. The best Sony camera on a budget. You might have spotted the next generation of the A7 III, A7R V at the top of this list. And while that camera is just about every aspect of the A7 III refined and tuned up with Sony's latest tech, Sony made the A7 III so good that it is refusing to go away. And planned or not, this has certainly worked in Sony's favor, as it has perhaps unintentionally got the best value full-frame camera on its hands. Headline features include a highly effective 6996-point AF system, eye autofocus, and 4K video with a 5-axis image stabilization system that promises 5 EV of compensation. There's a 24.2 back-illuminated image sensor, coupled with the latest generation of the image processor, and the two deliver excellent tonal range and make super high ISO settings possible. All this might seem pedestrian today, but it was sit up and take notice stuff in 2019 when the camera was released. Handling is good, though some may find the body a little small when paired with pro lenses, although this does apply across the alpha range. There are so many lenses to choose from though, with Sony's own range being extensive, but its willingness to open its mount means there are incredible third-party options too. It might not have the blinding speed of Sony's top-flight A9 cameras or the ultra-high resolution of the A7R V, but the Sony A7 III still manages to offer a compelling alternative to these pricier models, delivering instead sheer value for money. For the top performance at a sensible price, I think it's not only the best priced Sony camera out there, but the best value full-frame camera full stop. Number 4. Sony A6700. The best Sony camera for travel. Sony's A6XX range has long been one of the most popular lineups of cameras for hybrid shooters who love to travel, or keen social media and YouTube content creators. The concept for the camera is a simple and pocketable camera APS-C camera that also hides some impressive specs. The Sony A6700 represents a logical progression from its predecessor, the A6600, upgrading components like autofocus and IBIS to Sony's very latest. The A6700 maintains the compact rangefinder-style APS-C camera design from prior models, but incorporates some notable and welcome improvements in button layout. However, I still found the camera was still a little cramped and hard to hold with larger full-frame lenses. If you are happy to settle for Sony's smaller enthusiast lenses, then they are a much better balance for the A6700, although it can be a little confusing to tell the two formats' lenses apart. The A6700 delivers an exceptional stills experience with an improved resolution, better tracking, and faster speeds. While its advancements in 4K video recording and integration of AI autofocus technology from Sony's more powerful and pricey cameras means the A6700 is a little more powerful than its compact size might allude to. The A6700 does have a higher starting price compared to the previous generation, and it is relatively more expensive than some competitors, which have done a lot to close the gap in recent releases. However, the A6700 offers a lot for the money, and emerges as one of the top choices for travel photographers and content creators who prioritize professional features within a compact form factor. Number 3. Sony A9 III. The best Sony camera for sports. To quote from our review, I am nothing short of gobsmacked, blown away, bowled over, and wowed by the Sony A9 III. With the first ever global shutter put in a consumer camera, it enables a top shutter speed of a mind-blowing 180,000 and up to 120 frames per second for RAW plus JPEGs. The A9 III's blistering speed is matched by Sony's impressive AI autofocus performance. which can track more subjects than ever before, as well as perform feats like human pose estimation, which knows what your subject is going to do before they do. However, this camera is definitely only for those who need the very best in speeds. We are talking about the professional sports photographers of the world, where every millisecond can mean missing the action or getting that back page shot. If that is you, then what are you waiting for? But for everyone else, this camera is overkill to a huge degree, as most photographers will never need to tap into the speed this camera can accomplish. With one of the major pitfalls of all the speed is backup, storage, and culling unwanted photos. I would rather not try to manage that. However, if my most damning criticism is that the A7R V is too fast to keep up with, surely that's nothing but a mission accomplished for Sony. For professionals who need more than speed, however, the Sony A1 edges ahead of the A7R V as an all-around hybrid model, as it throws in 8K video and 50mm stills, although features some slightly less sophisticated autofocus tracking. Number 2. Sony A7R V. The best Sony camera for resolution. The Sony A7R V was meant to just be Sony's resolution specialist, but instead the engineers just decided to go ahead and put pretty much everything part they had around the studio into the camera. The A7R V is a technically overwhelming camera with specs that will make you drool, although I'm not sure everyone needs it. The headliner is the 61nWi sensor, which resolves beautiful detail when paired with professional lenses from Sony, Sigma, and others, which is perfect for portrait, landscape, or product photographers who might want to make big prints of their work. It also comes in handy with wildlife and sports shooting, as you can crop tighter into the action if your lens isn't quite long enough. With a 10 FPS burst rate, it's not the fastest camera, but it ain't bad for pushing all those megapixels. You can customize the buttons endlessly to suit the way you work, but that takes time and also a good memory for which button you've customized to do what. Paired with new AI subject recognition, AF is remarkable, both for its rapid identification and acquisition and its very sticky tracking. There is also a much better in-body image stabilization system, which is pretty essential when even the slightest jitter looks much worse in 61nWi. The image quality is every bit as good as that of the A7R IV before it. And while Sony says it's better, I'm not sure how much of a worthwhile upgrade the A7R V is for anyone who already uses the prior model. For newcomers though, who are after the most resolution possible in a full-frame camera for professional work, then this is a must-have. Although, for the lofty price Sony charges, this camera really is only for dedicated professionals. Number 1. Sony A7 IV. The best Sony camera overall. The Sony A7 III was a force to be reckoned with, pushing camera technology ahead of anything else at the time, and leaving every other brand to play catch-up. One of the many reasons why I have still included the Sony A7 III on this list. The Sony A7 IV should be Sony's vanilla A7 model, offering an entry point to full-frame mirrorless, covering all bases but not specializing in anything and leaving other Sony cameras to shine for different purposes. Sony has the A7R for resolution, the A7S for video, and the A7C for compactness. But there's nothing ordinary about the Sony A7 EV. It technically supersedes the A7 III in almost every way, with more resolution, faster speed, better autofocus, and tracking algorithms, and it blurs the lines more than ever with Sony's other A7 models. Overall, it's just an altogether more advanced camera, which I think